Okay, I think we're live.
We're live and recording.
All right, great. LTV, thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our double meeting tonight. We have a regular board meeting along with our first budget workshop. Prior to this, the board was in executive session going over tenure and personnel. So at this time, Julie, would you do roll call, please?
Sure. Barbara Dayton?
Here.
Tim Frazier?
Here.
Pat Brabant?
Here.
Eric Frederickson?
Here.
Emma Field?
Here. Thank you very much. If we could all rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
LTV, can you let Michael Henry in, please, to the meeting?
I'm sorry?
Could you let Michael Henry into the meeting, please? Are you able to do that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good, thank you. Okay, we'll get started for this evening's meeting.
I don't see student council.
Okay. So we'll move on to a couple of items of recognition, including one for a very special kind of teacher that we have at this school. So Kimberly Royal. Deb, would you like to, or Christine?
Christine is going to do the introduction.
Sure. So good evening, everyone. I have the privilege of congratulating one of our veteran teachers here. She is an ENL teacher, and she has been recertified as a national board teacher, and that's Kimberly Royal. So we congratulate you. For those who don't know, a national board certification is voluntary. It's an advanced teaching credential, and it's sort of the pinnacle of a teaching career. So we want to thank her. It's something that she has done on her own time, and of course our kids benefit from it. So we are very, very proud of you, and thank you for getting recertified and rolling all your knowledge over to the other teachers as well. Thanks.
Congratulations. We know this is a huge deal. We had a couple other teachers go through this. And so there's just a few teachers in our school that have this certification because it is so time consuming.
There's only a few thousand in the whole country that actually have it. I think 6,000 or something in the whole country. Thousands of teachers, so it's rigorous.
Very good. And we are also going to recognize our early winter sports team.
Yes, and they had an amazing season. Boys basketball with Ray Watusiak, 8 wins, 2 losses. Boys basketball white, Victoria Hoffman, 9 wins, 1 loss. Girls volleyball green, Joey Colavito, 8 wins, 2 losses. And girls volleyball white, Kathy Sarlo, 6 wins and 4 losses. And the kids had a great time, but so did the coaches. Really, very exciting season. And they started practice today. And many children going out for the sports, both here and the combined sports at Eastern.
I believe the PTA, is anybody here from PTA? I think they're still in their meeting, correct? Yeah, they're still in their meeting.
Yeah, I think did that happen last time and they didn't, they should.
Yes.
We should put them in later in the schedule when that happens. Do you think someone's going to pop over?
I did speak to Megan Payne earlier. They had to change their locations of where they were meeting, so I'll see if they'll stop in.
Okay. And I'm just thinking, while we have Kim here, we should probably do like have a photo or something for her national certification, or do. I'm just thinking, the podium's here. No one's seeing what she looks like.
Want to take a picture with the board?
Yes,
sure.
Yes, I think that.
Right now? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just have her stand behind them.
Yeah. You guys can stay seated.
You can take a photo.
Evelyn, come on. Evelyn,
Come on. Make it a family event.
Which way? Stand up.
Okay, sure. However. Oh, there she comes.
Thank you.
Future teacher of America, right, Evelyn?
Yeah, they are.
Very nice. 1, 2. Everybody say national certification.
Congratulations.
Okay, so we will pass on the PTA update for now. And they come in, they come in. So we will go ahead to public commentary number 1. If anyone has a question or comment regarding our items of board business, personnel, finance, which is really all we have there this time. So anyone here, or is there any caller at this time?
We have no callers.
Okay. Then we will jump right into personnel.
We have the pleasure tonight to introduce to the community, to the board, Tony Laundrie, our next special education teacher. She replaces the teacher that has resigned. Sorry. B is the appointment of Jennifer Decker as teaching assistant. Substitutes, Leah Boyle, a PTA person, as uncertified teacher for subbing. And then the maternity leave of Melissa Dexter. And then the maternity leave of Caitlin Pelosi. And then the leave, F is the leave of absence for Beverly McGrath. G is extend the leave replacement of Sandra Vecchia. H is the appointment of Megan Payne for summer IT writing. I, and then the leave of absence for Juana Loja. J, and then the salary of Diane Shoemakers, 0.6 business teacher. As soon as the credits come in, we verify everything, so that's a change there. Second amendment to the contract for Jennifer Lester. First amendment to the contract for Bridget Tapia, that's senior office assistant. Chaperones for open gym night, funded by the Fred Field grant money. And then the special ed committee, that is the buildings and grounds and facilities and health and safety. And I will replace Robert Doyle on the committee. Resignation of Linda Marie Kirby, general education teacher. P is the leave of absence of Deb Murray from her teaching assistant position. And Q is the appointment of Deborah Murray, elementary teacher, and Deb is with us this evening.
We have 2 on person.
Yes. And a carry-on that kind of like follows along with Deb Murray's appointment is Deb Murray was doing the .08 reading teacher. So she stops doing that January 13th, and be it resolved that Victoria Firemark as becomes the effective reading teacher January 12th through June 23rd as a .08. Replace that reading that Deb.
So since those are walk-ons, I'll just do those separately at the end. So if are there any questions from the board right now? Do I have a motion to move personnel items A through Q to consent agenda? Motion. Second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Great. Could I have, that's over here somewhere. Okay, so we got 2 items here then. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby amends the additional appointment for Deborah Murray, .08 reading teacher, to be effective December 14th, 2022 through January 13th, 2023. Motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. And be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby appoints Victoria Firemark as a .08 reading teacher effective January 12th, 2023 through June 23rd, 2023 at a salary of $6,897.12, MA plus 60, step 6, prorated, funded by Title I grant. Motion?
Motion.
Second? All in favor? Aye. Great. Thank you. All right, we are going to go ahead and hop into finance. We have Mike Henry with us. There he is. Is
I had to find the unmute button there. All right, finance items. Item A are the warrants for the month of December 2022. Item B is the claims audit report from our internal claims auditor. Item C is the agreement with the Devereaux Foundation for a special ed placement. Item D are the treasurer's reports for October and November of 2022. And item E is the board approval and acceptance of the 2020 year-end financial audit report for, actually, it should be 21-22. That wasn't done, so we have to have that done so we can upload it to the state. That's it for finance items.
Okay, great. Does anybody have a question at this time? All right, so I have a motion to move finance items A through E to consent agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Records retention.
So the state came out with a new records retention and disposal schedule. So the board needs to adopt that in order for us to do it.
Okey-dokey. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby adopts the New York State Education Department retention and disposition schedule for New York local government records dated November 7th, 2022. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Principals report.
Professional development plan and survey. About 10 days ago, I sent out, as requested by the board, a survey for childcare needs. If we decided to go with a half-day professional development day before February break and then another one before April break. There are 421 students in K through 5, so that's who we sent the survey to. We had 113 parents respond to the survey, and again, this was a parent swear, it was a poll. 64 out of the 113 parents said they did not need childcare, that they would provide their own on those half days, and 49 said yes, that they would take advantage of childcare if it was provided by spring school on those days. We estimate that we'd have about 100 to 120 students that might show up for childcare on those days or need supervision, and that would be for a 4-hour period from 11:15 early dismissal to 3:15 p.m. So we estimate that we would need 10 to 12 adults for a ratio of 1 to 10, and the total cost for that half-day professional development in staff or supervision would be approximately $1,200 to $1,300. Okay, and that would then translate to 3 hours of professional development for the teachers. So the plan for this, and again, thank you for considering this. I know it's late in the
I'm
school.
sorry, we sort of like threw it out there in the midst of a meeting about other stuff.
That's
You're in
okay.
the hot seat a little, but that, wasn't our intent, but,
No, that's okay. Like I said, I'll take it,
Sure, yeah.
It's just, we're mandated by the state to provide quality professional development for our staff. And because we have a shortage of substitutes, as every school district does across the country right now, we've been having a hard time providing that for our staff during the school day. So we're hoping that this might be a solution to that problem, at least going forward this year, and then we can go back to the drawing board over the summer for next year. One of the things, part of the plan is to look at data analysis and look at student performance data so that we can, again, start pushing that needle towards mastering standards and achievement. We started on December 7th with a training by Star Renaissance, who have upgraded and updated their dashboard and their suite of services, and we have been, we've subscribed to their services for a number of years now. That's our New York State approved local assessment company. So we provided for about 15 staff members on December 7th, so I'd like to do a part 2 of that for everybody else, so we're all caught up. And then also a new digital reading program through Star Renaissance called MyOn, which aligns to our units of study, ELA, and it's a great digital resource. It's got over 13,000 titles in it. It's got different interest libraries that the kids can make on their own, and there's also assessments attached to it to help with progress monitoring, to know where the students are at, and then where to plan for them to go as far as learning. So again, we were really lucky that we had some staff members sign up, but there's various rates pay for the different people who have signed up to do the childcare. And if you do choose to go forward with it, it would cost the district about $1,200. So thank you for.
Per time, right?
Yeah, so that would be, so double that for the
Right, yes.
two,
Yeah,
if we go with 2 professional development days.
And in terms of the professional development that will be going on, is that in-house, or do you bring somebody in to go over stuff?
That actually would be a representative from Star Renaissance. If we're lucky enough to get the same trainer that we had last time, she was fabulous, and any of the staff that are here, they gave great feedback on the quality of professional development that was given to them. So we hope that we'll be able to bring that trainer back, and that it won't cost too much, but that the benefits will pay off.
And would that also be for both February and the other one as well?
If we're able to train everybody during the February Professional Development Day, then what I'd like to do is focus on curriculum maps for April, right, April 6th, because we've been away from that. The teachers have been working on it in their grade level meetings, but we haven't had a chance to sit down and really pour through them in small groups, and so I'd like to dedicate April 6th to that. We have some English language arts literacy maps that need to be completed by May, and we also have some other curriculum that everybody was working on for the last year or so, and we just need the follow-up time for everybody to sit down and get eyes on the data itself and on the curriculum maps.
Okay. All right, so we should, I mean, I think you would want to know soon if we're doing this for February, right?
Yeah.
So if our cost is $1,200 per time of this happening, and we know that that some parents would be able to, take the day and use it their own way, and others would need the help. So how do people feel about moving ahead with having a professional day on those 2 half days?
That's important. I have no problem with the professional day at all. My question was on the, we talked about last time, about using TAs for childcare in the afternoon. Are you still looking at that option?
We did look at that option. We didn't have a tremendous response from the TAs. The TAs contractually are not obligated to stay past the early dismissal time, so you would be paying them extra, but a lot of them have made other plans or had other obligations because we're kind of getting a late start on this. So we're looking at some of our substitutes, some TAs, and some of our office staff that will be here anyway, so that's a bit of a cost savings.
Okay. Well, that work for everybody? Okay.
Yeah, okay,
So,
thank
all right,
you.
yes, you're
That's
getting
very
your half
exciting.
days,
I'm
that's
sure the
fine.
staff will be very happy. I see
And
somebody
thank you for
applauding in the
providing
audience.
us with
Thank
the,
you very much. That's
the
wonderful
info that
news.
we needed to, make the decision, so.
Of course.
And we still have Project Most.
Right.
So that's why she's estimating 100 to 125, because that's the children that are normally in Project Most. So
Okay. Would you be asking for like a sign up ahead of time for
Yes.
parents? Let us know if they'll be here in case you did need additional staffing or anything?
Yes, I will. I'll be asking
Okay.
for a commitment, and, we have to set up the logistics of that anyway and see if, if we can provide buses after a certain time, and also who's going to Project Most and who's not, so.
Would you be thinking about, not even about transportation?
Yeah,
Is the students that are staying until 3:20, other than transportation, don't take them home that day? We'll have 11:15 run.
yep,
Are we probably have buses by the regular time at the end of the day?
that's what I'm
Or
working
a
on.
shorter bus?
Yeah. That's what we're working out with the transportation department right now, but it's definitely feasible.
All right. So it sounds like we got a good trial run here with 2. See how it
Yeah,
goes.
thank you very much.
we'll
Appreciate it.
be talking about our calendar for next year at our next workshop, because we have to adopt that calendar probably in February, the end of February. Can you bring up the enrollment report? You can do my laptop.
Well, that's correct.
So if you look at December to our current enrollment, a difference of 3 students in really K through 8. Down to the high school, that's where we've been seeing this kind of like roller coaster. 1 month it's up 4 or 5 and down. This month it is, it's up, I know that. So yeah, it's up by 2. Moving target. I do want to, it's not on the agenda, but just, again, recognize our custodial maintenance staff. We had our fire inspection today, and Thomas Baker, the fire marshal, was here, and he has never seen the building look so good. He made one suggestion that we need to put lighting in the courtyard. See that exit sign there? So the exits that are in the courtyard to allow children, let's say they are in the courtyard and they get confused, or there is a fire, or it's nighttime, that the exits light up so that they can get out of the courtyard. And he's going to give us plenty of time to do that, so we'll research the best way to do that. Otherwise, they were already on anything that was identified today, and, you know, again, he had to stop in and tell us that the building just never looks better.
Very nice to hear. We have some items of old business, including we need to approve the minutes for this other meeting. So be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby approves the minutes from the December 13th, 2022 meeting. Motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Open gym night, going well?
Do you have some numbers on open gym night?
Do, so we have been asking the students to sign in. Tonight will be our 5th night, right? 1, 2, 3, yeah, 5th night of open gym. The numbers, the attendance has fluctuated. The first one had 27, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. The second open gym night, which was on January 6th, had 28. On the 10th, we only had 6 participants. There were a lot of sports and games that evening, away games in particular. And then on the 13th, 16. So it's kind of all over the place.
Right.
So we're looking at staff and trying to align how many adults we need to chaperone. It's hard to predict. The next step is to really kind of canvass the kids and say, you know, how do you think it's going? It seems like the same students are showing up really week to week. And I just have to canvass the kids and see like where this might be going, or is it going to fizzle out, or what?
Right. So it's 6 to 8, right?
Sorry?
It's 6 to 8?
6th through 8th grade, yeah.
Would
And
there
6
be any
o'clock.
reason to have like one night 7 to 8 and one night 5 to 6?
We certainly could. Yeah. Just vary the hours, or I'm sorry, vary the grade levels.
Right, yeah, because if it's twice a week, maybe you don't have so much
Right.
repeat from the same age, but those once, maybe they, you know, just a thought.
Yeah, it's a great idea. We can certainly try that. Yeah. Yeah. So I think right now we have it scheduled through March, but again, it's trial.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
We have warmer weather.
We'll keep looking at it and seeing where the trends are, and we'll, like I said, we'll try to accommodate, you know, supervision without it being overly supervised.
Okay, thank you. We do have some goals pulled together then for that we were working on at our last workshop, and have a little follow-up stuff after the workshop on pulling some things together. So it seems like a pretty good set of goals.
Yes, so goal 1, apologize, we were trying to get to that achievement and to that social, and we've divided it up into 2 separate goals. So the first one is to increase social, emotional, behavioral, mental, and physical health opportunities for students and staff. Conduct some surveys, research some programs for students and staff, determine the need, discover opportunities for well-being, events, things such as, the open gym for students, maybe a paint night for students and staff. I know the students love the park painting. I'm sure something like that. Something that really improves our engagement overall. Continue to lean on the community's participation to inform us and make recommendations as well. Take their suggestions. There is a roadmap, resource guide for like coming back from COVID, build communities, support students, social emotional, support educators. Just scroll up a little bit.
And
So-
actually, I want to thank Eric for putting that on there, because I was not aware of that, so that, I think that's a really good resource for us to be looking at.
And again, we thought, start out small, maybe 3 programs or events, by the 4th quarter, one for students, one for staff, one combined, if we can combine something like that. The other one was already something that you approved, that's to improve the governance and communication. 3 was engage strategic planning and fiscal responsibility. And 4 was that achievement, to bring student achievement back to pre-COVID levels. Explain and share the data with staff, which is what Christine was talking about for professional development, and the board and the community, and then setting up extra help early mornings and Saturday, which could also be funded by our Title I grant and ESSA grants.
Yeah, I saw it mentioned somewhere, Saturday Academy, is that what that was? I like the name.
Yeah, there's a couple of ideas, some extended learning.
And again, supposedly there are some grants coming out related to tutoring. Research is showing that really small group, one-to-one, it's additional time for our students, and we know that they're taxed, but it seems to be paying dividends, that extra help, whether morning, afternoon, or Saturdays. So if we're set to go.
Okay. I think we're set with the goal.
Thank you, Eric.
Okay, let's see, cargo container.
Cargo container is back under old business. I have some pictures to show the board. There was a community member that sort of was upset. The cargo unit was placed so on our property, but so close to her property. The other picture, Julie, you can see how close the cargo container is. Our neighbors went through a lot with our construction. They were very patient. They felt informed, and she just felt like she didn't have a heads up on this. You can see her tree line. The bottom is where she sees the cargo container, because the trees really cover the top. So I asked Kevin if he could look at some, bushes that could go, in between. And she also provided us with a resource for the DEC, is reduce plants. I have a whole list, so Kevin's working on that, and I just wanted to call it to your attention.
Could you put a screen up on the fence?
Yes, that's another suggestion, yes. Yeah, they have that green screening that goes through it.
Yeah, she offered
Like you
a
did in the
suggestion
courtyard.
for a fence too, would she be open to that, or?
No, but I can call her. She came in, she got a tour of the building, she just, this just caught her off guard, and, understood why the location, but, was not aware of it was coming.
It's understandable.
The screening on the fence is gonna just be green like the way that is, so it's gonna, I think it would also,
Yeah, if the trees were lower to the ground, it would, be an issue, but they're kind of, and she says when she sits out on her deck, that's her line of sight.
Right.
Okay. I told her I would bring it here to the board, get your blessing, and we'll work out a solution.
Sure.
It's very minimal. It's not an expensive proposition at all. And there was no problem with the fire marshal on the sea that we actually inspected it.
Is it possible to put on the foul line, of the third one, what a wood shed is?
Yes.
We have in that area over there versus where it is right there.
Where the shed is?
Where the shed is, there's that property, there's the woods, there's the parking lot.
Oh, I know what you're saying. That would be an expense to move it now. I don't know how much it would be to
They're
move it.
probably no cheaper than maintaining those bushes, if you want to plant.
You want me to see the cost of moving it?
Yeah.
Because then it would be an effect, she wouldn't really see it, nobody in the school would see it because, there's a parking lot in the big there.
Unless there was like an access issue for bringing stuff in and out of the school because of what.
Are you talking about where the rocks are behind the bus yard?
No,
No.
if you go and head home lane, there's a little dirt road that comes in there, there's a wood shed right there. This is 20 feet in front of it, right? And to the right of that, there's a spot right there.
Would that be next to the person's house?
No, it wouldn't be, because it'd be up, it would be head home lane.
Right, okay.
I don't know, we need to look at it, maybe it's 20 by 48, 8 by 48.
You'll have to show me.
Let's revisit,
Okay.
and get it, if we
Got it.
do that, because it doesn't look like there's that much space, honestly, in between the container and the fence in terms of actually planting something in there. And you'd have a lot of light blocked from it also, so,
Was there a particular reason the decision was to put it there in the first place? Was there some type of accessibility or?
Well, accessibility, because where this is there's actually a not a driveway, but there's a gate there where you can go in and out, so the pickup truck can back up, take stuff out. Girls' softball stuff was gonna be kept there, and it's right there by the field, you don't have to keep dragging it out, so.
but if it's on the other side of the fields over there, you would still have vehicular
Right, you still have the
access.
driveway,
Still
too.
be- Right, so,
Are you talking about where the other trailer was?
No, where the shed was, there's a shed out there, wood shed, way out in the right field.
That's the old Boy Scout shed, right?
No, that's not the Boy Scout shed, that is the, Little League shed.
Okay, I thought the Boy Scouts
Talking
had
about the
built
other
that.
No, same field.
no, well, the other softball field behind, the one that's next to it, in the back of that. You know what, we'll have to go, we'll have to do it, okay, yes, okay.
Right.
But, all right, yes, we will have a look.
Just
doing
think,
something.
plant the bushes, they're gonna do that for that.
Okay, and then with committees, we just wanted to remind people that we do still have openings on committees for anyone who's interested in participating, for buildings and grounds, communications, guidance plan advisory council, health, safety and wellness, policy, shared decision-making, and the technology committees. Could have additional people on them if anybody was interested in joining. What would be the correct course of action? Getting in touch with you, Julie?
Yeah, they can
or-
just send me an email and I can forward that on to you and to the board and to
Right.
Deb.
Email our district clerk, Julie Bestrian. Okay. What, new business future BOE reports?
So if you could bring that one up, this is also in the PowerPoint that Mike's going to do with the budget items, but. So all your workshops from now going forward to May are all gonna be related to budget. Next, we're gonna add the calendar to, that has to be voted on. But for the regular board meeting for the 28th, we're gonna do student data and the special ed consulting model, we update on that, because that was something we approved last year. So we should have, that. Budget workshop 3 is March 7th, we're gonna do instructional learning. Budget 2 is facilities maintenance, custodial, security, and education. March 21st is your tenure recommendations. And then Special Olympics, our athletes are snowshoeing. So they'll come with the results of that. They've been practicing on the beach. The starter practices, we'll get an update from Mr. Oil. Number 4, April 18th, we'll have John King back on the concussion management. We'll look at green and white day activities, like a forecast, what can we expect. UPK update in the 5-hour program, the benefits of that, and the struggles that we've had. And May 2nd, workshop goal setting. Try to get there.
Wait a minute, we just got.
I know.
I think some of these might carry forward. We
Over,
might
but
have dual duty goals here.
we'll have some objectives, I'm sure. May 16th is the budget vote, and then, of course, June 16th, recognitions, retirements, about the goals. Each Board of Ed meeting will have a report out from the council, PTA, and committee work. Any changes, additions, please let us know, but I thought we should outline some of the future reports.
Okay, that sounds very good. And in light of that, we don't have committee reports here on this agenda, but we did just have a communications committee meeting recently to go over some things with our website and some other things that you're touching upon. I'm completely blanking on having to say this off the top of my head.
Yeah, well, we have the beta version coming up that we're going to look at next week. So that's exciting. There's actually, previously the website was a snapshot of what it would look like, and now there'll be a live link that we can play around with. And I know we were getting some final updates from students and PTA.
PTA is already updated, and we went for training today, and everything the PTA sent me is already on the website. So they're probably the ones that are done. Like,
She's here too, if you want to have her come
they
here.
can check the box.
All right.
Students did participate. Student council would have reported out. Their major concerns are sports schedules. To have that on there, you know, the easy links for all of their web sites that they go to. A little eye-opening on some of the other things that I thought they would be concerned about. They were like, oh, is that what that is? So we need to do some education on what, you know, code of conduct is, DASA is, you know, some of the terms. Once I told them what they were, oh yeah, we know that, but it was the terms that they weren't familiar with.
I was glad to see that they were interested in wanting to know their scheduling, because we think about, oh, the parents are going to want to know that. Well, hey, the kids want to know it too, which is great.
Absolutely, that was a big one for them. And they were the ones that the transportation, that's why I was asking the question, I think, Barbara, you were on, if there is a secure way to access bus schedules. So we stopped posting bus schedules due to safety. They said, like, if we could post the bus schedules and a parent or a student could look it up by putting in a code, that they, you know, they have the right to look at that. That would be really, really helpful. So that's why I asked them. They seem to think that they could do that for certain items. That came from them.
All right, good.
You want to go back to PTA? Since we're
Yes,
here?
I would like to do that. Yes.
Hi,
Come on up.
how's everybody? We just had a PTA meeting with 8th grade graduation parents. So they have the ball rolling, and the students picked the theme of 80s. So it should be fun. I know I have an outfit already. And then we are getting spring break up and rolling as well. The Talk House is giving us the date of Friday, April 21st. And we had a committee meeting today, and then we're going to have subcommittees formed by the end of next week to start the fundraising. We want to thank everybody for helping out with the penguin patch. We walked with a profit of $4,867, which was awesome. Also, Bonic lights. It was fun. It was tiny, but the kids made ornaments, and they were a huge seller. We sold out of so many student-made ornaments, and teachers in school helped out to make that happen, and so many showed up to help sell things there. So that was a great community event. The Goat and the Boat came for kindergarten and first grade this past week to do the Three Little Pigs. And we have sent everybody but 8th grade bowling. 8th grade goes on Thursday to All Stars. So far, good reports. The kids seem to be having a lot of fun. And then in the long term, we have 8th grade is going to the Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island. 7th and 8th, 6th and 7th to the Adventure Park at Long Island and Long Island. 4th and 5th are going to the United States of America. 3rd grade is going to Long Island Game Farm. K through 2 is going to the aquarium, and that will be in May, I believe. Yeah, May 3rd. So we're sending them all out, and then we'll be doing kindergarten and 8th grade graduation. That's everything. Thank you.
Great, you're busy. Oh, and also thank you for the updating with the website.
Oh, I will thank them. I didn't do that.
Wait till you see it. It's like, you know, we were looking at the letter, and the letter was like 22, 23. I said, wow, they worked, because I only got it last week, and I submitted it to them, and they loaded everything.
Yeah. I'll let Anna and Leah know. Thank you.
It's time for public commentary number 2. If anybody here in attendance or on LTV would like to call in with a question or a comment, this is your time to do so.
Sorry, I was late, so I'm out of sorts. Was there someone?
Can you come up to the podium?
Sorry. I had a question if someone was appointed for sound for opera, if that was happening tonight. I don't know if that.
That might have happened already in a previous meeting, the sound.
That wasn't this evening.
It wasn't this evening. They sent me a message when you guys were in executive session. I got an email from Sandra Vecchio. So.
Okay, that was not addressed this evening.
Okay,
It came into
so
me
that
when
it
they were in
can't-
executive
if
session.
All right, I had no idea where it was coming from. I was just asked to ask. So,
It wasn't even
that
brought
will
to the
have to be
board's
something.
attention.
That was in the future
I'm
then.
not aware of it.
I
Yeah,
don't remember was someone
it just was
appointed
brought to my
previously.
attention.
Wasn't there a previous one? Who was that for? No?
No. We can discuss it tomorrow.
I'll
if you
look
want.
into it and find out. I don't know.
Yeah, I have an email from earlier.
Okay, if there are no further questions, then do I have a motion to adjourn the regular meeting?
Excuse me, board, it looks like we have a caller on the line.
Oh, we have a caller. Okay, put them through.
Hi, good evening. This is Ashley Delapola. I just wanted to confirm that our sound person was approved this evening.
There was no sound
For the
person
opera.
this evening, no.
This is what I
Okay,
got.
he was submitted for approval. Can we just approve his appointment tonight for next week's show for the Spring School Opera?
I got it from there in exec.
Is there currently nobody approved for sound?
Not this time, no. I got an email at 6:30.
Okay, so just hold on just a second. Let's.
I can read you the email if you'd like to
Okay.
do a walk-on for it.
Because this is next week, right?
Yes,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay.
Gianni Gambusa at a rate of $300 per day for the duration of 4 days, January 24th through January 27th.
We have to have discussion about that. I'm not ready to do that. No.
Okay, we'll probably have to have an extra meeting then to go ahead and approve it,
I'm
so.
not gonna.
Okay,
Go to.
all right. So we will do that and we will deal with this at a special meeting. And if you could,
I'll forward that to the board,
forward
that
that to,
email.
right, yes, yeah. All right, great, thank you.
Okay, would that be prior to next week?
I'll send this out to
It
you
would be
guys right
prior
now.
to, yes.
The 24th is they need the sound person there for the beginning of their rehearsals.
Right.
The play is up to the 26th.
Yep, we just need to like review this sort of not on the spot since we're talking about spending money, but we don't have enough background on this, so, and we can't really just bring this on here right now without a little review, so yes, we will look at it and we would be having a special meeting before that.
Before Tuesday. Okay.
All right, great.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Okay, are there any additional calls at LTV then?
No, that's our only call.
All right, thank you. So then do I have a motion to adjourn the regular meeting?
Motion.
Second? All in favor? Aye. Okay, and we are going to go
Yeah,
into
like you up with.
our, budget workshop.
Can you bring up that PowerPoint? So this is budget workshop number 1. I want to thank Mike Henry, Julie's office, for all their assistance in putting this together on really such short notice and trying to keep to our timeline. So the first one we've gone over many times, our spring's mission statement has to be what drives everything that we do. I put the proposed goals in here that we just agreed on tonight for this year, but we will probably have some additional objectives going forward. But again, the goals drive our budget. You've seen this slide before, what we want to maintain.
Next one.
Our educational programs that meet New York State mandates, our small class size not to exceed 25, K-5, staffing that supports mandates and requirements, a commitment to instructional technology, including personnel, extracurricular programs, sports band, chorus, opera, robotics, school safety, which includes our security guards, but also cybersecurity, adequate custodial maintenance staff to maintain our building, fully staffed bus drivers, bus monitors, permanent substitute teachers and teacher assistants, quality professional development and ongoing curriculum work, and comprehensive social and emotional programs and restorative supports. When we look at the enrollment and class size, we're looking at rolling forward our kindergarten, which has been to three sections for first grade. They're currently at 4, so that's a -1. Our second grade stays at 4 sections. Our third grade stays at 4 sections. Our fourth grade goes from 3 sections to 4, so now we're up 1. Our fifth grade goes from 4 sections to 3 sections, so it's a -1. Our sixth grade is 3 sections, and it goes up to 4 sections, so it's a +1. Seventh grade stays the same at 3, and 8th grade stays the same at 4. This will be the first time we're working with 11 sections for middle school. I have a genius over here that's going to make it work. So our enrollment is slightly down from 1,120, 1,009. That includes the special ed numbers. CSE meetings will not be finalized probably until May to know exactly where we land with those numbers. Your high school enrollment, I am suggesting that we look at least an increase of 10. We signed really hard this year, and we were lucky that we've been able to make it work because of our special ed numbers. We never got the special ed high school students, so it kind of evens out with the increase of almost 20 students for regular tuition. Our bills for the high school are almost $1 million every month. And our school has never exceeded the tax cap, and I'm going to let Mike take it from here.
All right, screen number 7 is what is impacting our budget for the 23-24 school year. The biggest one is inflation. It's affecting almost everything that we buy, every service that we provide. The price for fuel for buses and heating is up. Health insurance costs, we know, are up 15%. BOCES costs is projected to increase between 3 and 5%. We've got additional costs for cybersecurity protection, and I just found out this morning that our general insurance premiums are going to be raised either between 10 to 15%, depending on our loss experience. So we'll find out probably within another week or so what that cost increase might be. Concern regarding cost of service for incoming kindergarten students, the new math curriculum, the superintendent search cost, and again, the high school tuition. I know the high school contract, I think, has another year after this, or maybe 2 years after this, and it's up for renegotiation. Next slide is the summary of state aid. What I've presented here is the 22-23 enacted legislative budget is column A. Column B is what we adopted for our state aid budget. And column C is the last year's governor's initial executive budget. And you'll see column D is blank because the governor hasn't presented the initial budget, and that's not due. She's not expecting to put that out until middle of February, which will be about a month later than it was last year. Next screen is our fund balance history, starting from 2017-18 up through this last fiscal year that was just audited. These numbers come right off of the audited financial statements. So you can see for the most part, it was a little bit lower in 17-18, 18-19, but then we started building it up in 19-20, 20-21, and 21-22. Some of the increase for 19-20, 21, 20-21, and 21-22 is the TRS retirement contributions. That was a new reserve that was allowed back then, and the board adopted in 19-20, and we've been able to put some money into there each year. Upcoming budget workshops, topics for the budget workshop number 2, which is on February the 7th. We'll be talking about transportation and the things that are affecting that, fuel costs, a new bus, staffing. The one thing I didn't add in here is we've got to start thinking about a few years down the road here. The New York State has mandated that we switch over all of our buses to electric. And that's going to be an enormous expense down the road. But I think it's time to start thinking about it, planning for it, since it's inevitable. Buildings and grounds, we'll be talking about staffing, future projects, the heating fuel costs, and what we need in grounds maintenance. Budget workshop number 3, scheduled for March 7th, 2023, will be discussions on regular ed instruction, special ed instructions. Regular ed, it's going to be staffing, materials and supplies, professional development, library and computer assisted instruction, co-curricular and interscholastic sports. The topics for special ed instruction are going to be enrollment, materials and supplies, report on consultant teacher model, the East Hampton high school tuitions, Southampton special ed tuition and BOCES, and then also fiscal transparency. We get down to budget workshop number 4. We'll be discussing, which is April 4th, 2023. We'll be talking about the 16 to 23 enrollment trends. We'll have the final budget summary, revenues and expenses completely put together, tuition expenditures, the tax cap calculation, and 5-year look ahead. State aid final legislative budget if it's available. Other revenue items and our tax levy and 5-year budget projection. And I put down budget workshop number 5 if it's necessary. But, because if there's any changes that have to come about as a budget workshop number 4, we have to schedule one more in there before April 18th, because April 18th is the date we have to do the budget adoption by the Board of Ed and submit it to the state. Again, this year's a little bit different in the way we're building the budget. It's taking a zero-based balance concept, starting from the ground up, and just rebuilding it, starting at base 0. Other important dates to keep in mind: the budget and property tax report card, April 18th it's due. The budget hearing is going to be May 9th. And then the annual budget vote and trustee election is May 16th. And that does it. Any questions?
Right, I thought we would see like we had I was wondering about the space between having it February 7th and March 7th, but of course we have a break in there, a winter break in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay.
Well, hopefully we can get better information too for the March meeting. Some decisions we made in February will help us out.
Yeah. And I think this is a good approach that you're doing with the building up the budget. I know we've had community members ask us about that before. So I think, it will really help an understanding of exactly what's in there. So.
It's helpful for all departments to start from the ground up. It's more work, but it definitely helps, especially with all the new people that we have.
I'd just like to thank you, Mike, for coming back on short notice and really helping us this year, considering the circumstances we faced. And again, this was a great summary, and looks like we got a lot of work to do, and I'm glad you're helping us do it.
There is a lot of work to do, let me tell you.
Well, we know we're in very good hands,
Yes.
so yes, thank you so much for being available to us.
And I got to compliment Julie and Kelly. I've been in touch with them almost on a daily basis, and they've been a big valuable help to me to get information and things like that, so.
Good to go.
Any questions from the board right
Not
now?
at the moment, I don't have any.
Does anyone here in attendance or on LTV have a question? We are doing this a little differently than before. There's not a lot of numbers and scary things going on right now, as we've had some time. So if anyone has a question, please come up.
It's just something that I don't understand, and I think Mike will explain it much better. On page 8 of the PowerPoint, where it talks about state aid, and it has the different columns. Now, I definitely understand that we don't know the governor's initial budget. I get that part. But as far as the columns A, B, and C, they don't seem to be in order as to when they happened. So do we get the governor's initial budget first, then we adopt a budget, and then there's the enacted legislative budget? Does it go in that order? Because the way the columns are arranged, I wasn't sure what actually happens first, second, third.
What normally happens is you've got the governor's initial budget, which generally last year came out in January. This year it's looking like it's going to be more in middle, late February. Then the next budget run that comes out, which is the legislative final, there's a preliminary budget and a final budget. They come out at the end of March, beginning of April. And it's right at about that same time. Once we see the final legislative budget, we take a look at some things and for our budget adoption. The numbers tend to be a little bit different because of the way the different grants factor in now. And we're able to add a few things in. That's why, even though the legislative budget was $840,000 for foundation aid, and we're showing 939, the foundation aid is one piece of it, and some of these other smaller pieces kind of fit in there. You don't really see, I'm trying to think, there's a couple of other categories that didn't show up in the legislative budget, but there's swings between two different codes.
Okay. And then the other question on this page also is, if you're looking at, bottom lines, the totals, the difference between the 2282 of the budget and the 2224 of our budget, what happened to that $60,000? Is that something that we have to then use?
What happens is the legislative enacted budget comes out, but then state aid goes through and they fine tune everything and they'll make some adjustments. That's what we look at, what the final state aid number comes across to us. And that's how we kind of determine what goes on. Like you'll see, software library textbook, the original legislative aid was $73,264, but the final came out as $70,365 that the state aid office confirmed.
I also want to call to your attention the universal pre-K. There were 3 pots of money. The first pot was that $62,100 for the 3-hour program, converted to 5-hour programs. Then we got the grants for $420,000 for another 42 students. And then the state, in their wisdom, gave another pot of money in universal pre-K, but it was for additional students. We didn't see those additional students. You can't get the aid if you don't spend it.
Of course.
Okay, so we're always laying it out and then recouping. So that right there is a huge difference from the 476, 927 to the 611. When I saw that, I was like, what is that? And it's actually a third pot that if we had additional students, they would have
could have taken advantage of. Understood. All right, thanks for the clarification.
So our budget didn't get adopted in the middle of those two. It was actually after this. So
yeah, that's the placement kind of threw me off a little.
Okay, thank you. We had,
Yeah. Hi, guys. Just on your Summer Romeo, my daughter's in kindergarten, and on the budget for increased concern, you had kindergarten as a concern. Is that because the section is growing? I'm just not
No,
understanding.
I'll explain. So, Just Kids was one of the pre-K programs.
But you have kindergarten. Okay, go ahead, I'll let you finish.
Kindergarten for next year. Okay. So the current pre-K students are really without any kind of services. If they were classified in speech, OT, or PT, there were no providers on the east end of Long Island. So we have concerns regarding those students. I'm glad they've been identified. The county understands it, the state understands it, but for our staff in September, we're going to be really stressed because these are students that have not received speech, OT, and PT. So where recommendation normally would have been, for example, a lot of our kindergartners who got services last year are actually doing so well they may be declassified at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not encouraged to see that for next year. I'm forecasting that these kids are going to need more support, not less support.
Okay.
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 The sections are still going to be small. It's going to be really the related services, speech, OT, and PT.
Yeah. And then on the goals, you had bus monitors on every bus.
No, just bus monitors.
Currently, are there bus monitors on every bus, or
No.
is that?
No,
Why
we
is
did
that?
that. We did that during COVID, and then last year it was 2 on regular buses that alternate depending on issues, and then special ed mini buses are required to have matrons on the buses per their IEPs.
Okay, so it's just selective as to which bus has a monitor, kind of.
Correct.
Okay. I think that's it. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Yes.
I don't know if this is the right time, but I have a couple of
Actually,
considerations.
could you come up to the podium, please? LTV asked us to have people come up there so they can get better audio.
Hello, everybody. Kristen Keys. I'm a teacher here, and my students go to school here, and I live in the community. I don't know if this is the right time to ask, but I know we're discussing the budget. I just have a couple considerations I'd like you to think about when building the budget. Is now a good time to?
Yes, that's what, this is our budget workshop.
Great. I really hope that you guys focus on early intervention for K1 and 2. I'm really concerned that you're keeping the kindergarten at 3 sections. As a 3rd grade teacher, we are seeing extreme need academically, emotionally, and behavioral coming into 3rd grade. We have children reading on kindergarten levels. And I think it's so important to catch them early. So I hope that maybe you consider bumping kindergarten back to 4 sections, possibly restoring the positions that we lost when our 2nd grade teacher, Amanda Blacko, left. Our kindergarten went down to 3 sections, so I hope we can restore that position. Also, I know how difficult it is to teach with the consultant teacher model in special education inclusion. I hope that we can restore it back to a full-time inclusion. And I know that possibly our reading curriculum will be reviewed for next year, and would love for our students to be able to benefit with something like the skills groups that we had in TACT a few years ago, where I guess it was K1 and 2 were getting extra support with teaching assistants and grouping them together. And it was something in addition to their regular teaching time, and also it targeted students who may be in need, but not necessarily targeted with an MTSS. They haven't gotten into the program yet. I just can't emphasize enough how important early intervention is at this point. And the last thing I had was possibly reconsidering paying $20,000 for the superintendent search. Is that necessary? It seems like a major cost.
Yeah, it's honestly, from our past experience, has shown that that is necessary. If you don't hire a professional firm to do it, there were definitely issues in the past, so, yes.
That's all.
Thank you very much. Does anyone else here have a question, or LTV, does anyone have a question from your end?
Just one follow-up.
Yeah.
So since the superintendent search was mentioned, I know one of the things that, the staff feels very strongly about, and community members that I've spoken to as well, is that when a task force is formed, that there is a lot of stakeholders involved as much as possible to try and, look at a holistic idea of what is needed here, and make sure that, really the stakeholders are as involved as possible in your decision.
I think if you might recall, that is exactly what that firm did, who helped us in a previous search. They made sure that they met with various stakeholders, both community, both with the staff, parents. There was like, a firm like that does a lot of outreach. So that's one of the benefits of hiring someone. Okay.
Do the surrounding districts use firms like this for their superintendent searches?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, people certainly do, yes. All right, well, I think we're off to a good start. We have a lot to think about, and we have a plan in terms of getting all this information, so I think look forward to the next one. So it does not seem to be that there are any more comments at this time or questions, so do I have a motion to adjourn the public hearing?
Motion.
Okay. All in favor?